Hi everyone. So this is my discussion response to discussion number 7, I believe, in which there's a scenario presented about a group and a follow-up session in which the group members are reporting setbacks and difficulties in putting to use what they learned in the group. And the first question is, what are some things that, as a group leader, I would say? And I think the first thing I would probably say to the group members is to remind them that setbacks are normal, that is something that is to be expected, as well as change is a process, and it's a slow process, and it takes time, and change is also subtle. So they may not recognize huge things that are changing immediately, but there might be small things that have changed that they may not even recognize, that they need someone with a little objective perspective to point out to them. So those are probably some of the things that I would say. Again, setbacks are normal and expected, and that change is a slow and subtle process. What suggestions would I make for some other resources? Probably I would, especially for the ones who seem to be depressed, I would probably recommend some individual therapy for them if they're really struggling. And perhaps maybe even joining another group to help them maybe remember or relearn or develop new strategies to be able to implement the things that they have learned. So, individual therapy I think would be a big one. Maybe some people need that individual one-on-one help after the group process to really keep them on track and help them to make the changes that they need to make. What factors could explain some of the possible regression? I think that maybe once group is over, people might expect, as I was saying earlier, for the change to come instantly, to come quickly. They might put those expectations out on themselves, and because it's not happening the way they want, it may cause them to get down, to regress, to get depressed. Also, another reason could be that they aren't being consistent in implementing the things that they need to implement to make sure that change actually happens. They might, not have the support from family members or others who are around them to be able to make those changes stick. They may not have made the commitment. They may have made it verbally, but may not have made it mentally. That commitment to do whatever is necessary consistently to make these changes happen. So then the next question is, in your own groups, how would you prepare the members for possible setbacks? In my own group, that I would make sure that before the group is terminated, whether in the beginning or in the middle or, shortly before the termination of the group, that I explain to the group members about setbacks and how to avoid them as much as possible by, contracts and keeping up with the contracts and being committed to doing what's necessary. But also to let them know that setbacks are something that happens and it's normal, and it's not something that means that they are not doing the work necessarily. So I would inform them of that, and just make them aware that that is something that they should expect, but also give them tools to make sure that they can be as successful as they can. And the number one tool is just for them to make that commitment to be consistent in implementing the things that they've learned. What are some ways that I might help them review what they have learned? I think that, I'm not sure if this question is for before the termination or after we're meeting in this group after the termination, the process, what has happened since the group ended. But if it is after the group has ended and we're trying to go over some things that have been learned, I would refer them to their contracts, the things that they have written down on paper. I would ask them questions such as, what was the most important thing that you learned in the group? What was the most impactful for you in the group? What did you notice about yourself? What did you realize you needed to change the most? Different questions like that to help them remember the things that they've learned, and to help them get back to where they were. And also, again, bringing up the contracts that I would have had them develop and sign before the termination of the group. That would also help them to remember that the things that they have learned. And that's it. I hope you guys understood what I said and it all made sense. And thanks for watching.